But speaking of people committing
Yep.
crimes, the Wisconsin Special Counsel had a very interesting election report this week.
Please, Robert, go on. I've done most of my homework, but there's a few decisions you send me. I tune out after a page, and I know I'm not going to get to it. Explain what's going on in this decision.
So the Wisconsin State Legislature appointed a special counsel to investigate what happened in Wisconsin in 2020. They chose one of the most well-respected legal minds in Wisconsin, a former Supreme Court justice. Now, you wouldn't know that from the institutional media that's been busy smearing him this week, but that's his background. He did a full investigation, and he confirmed some things that Richard Barris and I, a People's Pundit, I'll be on the show tomorrow, Monday, to talk about this and some other things. I'm sure that'll get demonetized before it starts.
It's already demonetized, Robert.
Yeah, exactly. They're going in there right now. To Richard Barris, another person who has military experience, military background, and has been highly critical of what's been taking place in terms of the hysteria to support this war. And he comes from the Realpolitik realism school. That is where Nixon, Reagan, and Trump heavily borrowed from. And that means you look at the world as it is, not as you would like it to be, and look at the second order consequences before you go in and make any first decision. And they followed it to varying degrees of consistency. But, that I come from the same school. Mearsheimer, who made a great presentation about Ukraine back at the University of Chicago, who now they're trying to block. The schools are demanding that because he has a politically realistic view of the Ukraine conflict in the political realpolitik perspective, that he must be kicked out and must be denied future positions there. It tells you the mindset of these people. But the Wisconsin Supreme Court report, very detailed, and what it showed is the things that Richard and I were talking about. Quite impressively, they've only looked at about 100 or so nursing homes in Wisconsin. They haven't got to all of them, but just the 30 that they looked at in Milwaukee, which doesn't cover all in Milwaukee, had the most impressive turnout. I mean, it wasn't as good as some Tennessee places back in the day. Back in the day, we could get over 100% turnout, which was always impressive. When you get more people to vote, like some Detroit precincts found out in 2016 when they shut down that recount, brought by Jill Stein, but really for Hillary Clinton, and they had to shut it down because Detroit precincts had more votes than voters. That's never good, folks. Turned out in Wisconsin, they had 100% nursing home turnout. 100%. Even people who were head guardians, apparently they voted without their guardian present. People who had been designated incapacitated managed to vote. So they got everything but the dead to vote. And how did this happen? Well, he detailed it, and he called it one of the biggest election bribery schemes in American history. That election, he calls it the Zuckerberg Five, that Mark Zuckerberg orchestrated a scheme to effectively, according to this report, bribe the election officials of Wisconsin to change how the vote was done in violation of the rules that govern the Wisconsin election to secure this outcome. With the entire objective, Wisconsin law is clear. It says an election official cannot take money to influence who votes, to influence how many people vote, to influence how they vote. And that's exactly what they did. Over $8.8 million, according to the report, funneled in from the Zuckerberg Five so that these election officials would ignore the rules and make sure that they got this 100% nursing home turnout. And if you think all those people were just honestly, and by every means, like how they got the ballot, who checked the ballot, who helped them fill out the ballot, who helped them send back the ballot, how the ballot was sent back. All of it was in violation of Wisconsin rules. So it wasn't just they took money to influence the vote, which by itself is election bribery in Wisconsin. It was they also violated the rules in the way in which these votes were calculated, cast, and counted, which is what I've been talking about. Hillsdale actually put up the speech now on YouTube because they think they can get it up there now about the three core constitutional violations of the election, which was who voted, how they voted, and how it was canvassed and counted. And he details everything that I was talking about for all the way a year ago. He did the evidentiary investigation to prove it. He also details all the obstruction from the governor's office, from the Zuckerberg group, from the election officials at trying to prevent him from getting this information and getting it out to the world.
Am I on? I'm on mute. Hold on.
No, I just heard you. Yeah.
Okay, good. No, I was just saying there was a chat that said my channel's fine, people. It says channel not affected. visibility 18 and over only. And I left my shirt on him. I thought at the very least, Robert, if I was going to have an 18 and over stream, at least I would get naked. I guess that's not going to happen tonight. I'll appeal that afterwards. So what's the outcome? What's going to be the actual practical impact of the decision?
So he goes through how they could actually decertify the results, though that would be mostly symbolic. It would have no legally or constitutionally consequential effect, but it would have a prophylactic effect. And the election law reforms the legislature needs to pass in order to prevent this from happening again. And so it's to reinforce these rules, and there really needs to be enforcement action. This Democratic governor of Wisconsin won't do it, but he may be gone after 2022. There should be criminal prosecution of these election officials and of the conspiracy that involved Mark Zuckerberg. To me, Zuckerberg and his group and his affiliated group committed criminal law violations, according to this report. And it appears to be pretty basic criminal law violations. Some of those only apply to the elected officials themselves rather than Zuckerberg, but some of them do. And clearly he was part of a conspiracy to do it. So it looks like Zuckerberg was a major criminal in what he did in Wisconsin. And I'm sure Wisconsin wasn't the only one.